Today is the 4th of July, so to any Americans watching, I wish you a very happy Independence Day. Party, have your fireworks, fly the stars and stripes, do what you guys do best. Although I have to say, as a Brit, taking the long view, I think we, the British, we dodged a fucking bullet there. And that's just because I'm thinking of the current and former US presidents. There was that strange orange thing who had no filter between his brain and his mouth and went out of his way to insult everyone, and the current US president, Joe Biden, a man who clearly is living with full-blown dementia, but is also in charge of nuclear weapons. And because it's July, it means it's no longer Pride Month. The rainbows have all gone away for another year. But this morning I was scrolling through Twitter and came across a tweet from the very end of June, so still Pride Month, which to me encapsulates the way that so many people in Western society go out of their way to try and prove they're oppressed, that they need to win the gold medal in the fucking Victimhood Olympics. So I went to a Pride event last month because no one gets to pick their sexuality. I fully support the lesbian, gays and bisexuals. They should not be persecuted, and for the most part in the modern world they aren't. But one of the things that struck me was the amount of different flags there are now. They're not all under the rainbow anymore. Everyone's got their own. And do you recognise this one? That is the asexual pride flag. So if we run through the alphabet, as it were, you've got lesbians, gays, bisexuals. Yep, they're all grand. Trans, for me, not so much, because now it's everyone's called transgender. There used to be people with gender dysphoria who were called transsexual, and there are also transvestites, many more transvestites than transsexual, and that's men who cross-dress as part of a sexual perversion or fetish. LGBTQ, Q, queer or questioning, I can get behind that. Some people aren't sure what they are as yet. I is intersex. I have never met an intersex person, nor have I seen one screaming loudly about being oppressed. Then the last one is the A, and that could be asexual, aromantic or agender. Agender's bollocks. Everyone has a gender, whether you like it or not. But Y is asexual, who are people with no sexual attraction or often sexual desire towards anyone. Why are they being lumped in with the fetishists and perverts? This is Yasmin, I think her name's pronounced Benoit, a 27-year-old model, also an asexual rights activist. Here's what she tweeted. Asexual people deserve equal rights, we deserve legal recognition, we deserve protection. Let's break that down. So asexual people deserve equal rights. I fully agree. But this is what I mean about someone playing the victim. Because what rights, in the UK at least, do asexual people not have that the rest of us do? What is it that people with no desire to be sexually active are being denied? Local government, the council, they're not saying, unless you take a cock up your vag, we're going to kick you off the housing list. There aren't religious organisations demanding people go out and fuck more and be more promiscuous. And if the concern is that asexual people may be forced to have sex against their will, well, if anyone is forced to have sex against their will, that's already covered legally. As for the lack of legal recognition, well, Yasmin does have a point here, because under the 2010 Equality Act, being asexual is not a recognised sexuality. But why the fuck would it be? If your sexuality is, I have no sexual desire, therefore no sexuality, why should it be written down in law? It's ridiculous. It's like me demanding the legal recognition that I can have babies despite not having a uterus. We are living in the life of Brian. And as for protection, what do asexual people need protection from that the rest of us don't? Now, I'm old enough to remember the bad old days. Back in the late 80s, when there would be gangs of skinheads who used to go out just to beat up gay guys, obviously as a way of repressing their own homosexual feelings. But it's 2023, that doesn't happen anymore. And even if it did, I've never heard of a gang of violent skinheads going after people because they're sexually inactive. No one's ever gone frigid bashing. For me, it reeks of desperation, a need to be a victim to fit into the LGBTQIA+ community. Although I'm not aware of any real struggles which asexual people have had. And as a straight white guy, who completely supports gay rights, I want to make that clear. There are times when the LGBTQIA+ community, particularly on one of the more modern pride flags that's got BLM in it, because now apparently being black is a sexuality, it feels like, why don't they just call it the Not Straight White Club? Exclude the vast majority of the UK population. And maybe asexuality has an evolutionary purpose. Maybe those people don't have any sexual desire because Mother Nature has decided they are fucking useless, we need to stop them breeding. The gene pool does need some chlorine. But Yasmin goes further, claiming that within her community, the asexual community, how exciting must their meetings be? I guess they meet up and discuss who they aren't having sex with. See that girl over there? Do you know what I do to her? Nothing. She claims that within that community, there's also racism. Love, that isn't racism within the asexual community, it's just fucking racism. Again, I think she's playing on victimhood because not only is she asexual, she's also an asexual person of colour who's being oppressed by her own community. Now, I have to be careful when I talk about race because I'm a white guy, and let's be fair, I've got tattoos and a shaved head, pretty much the look, as it were. And obviously, I've never experienced real racism, although I have been hit with some racial slurs, because where I live, it's a multicultural area. We've got people of all different skin colours, religions, we've got Christians, Jews, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, Sikhs, the lot. And for the most part, most of us get on. Apart from, if you challenge someone who will have darker skin than me, who's a follower of the religion of peace, which ironically is the one with all the suicide bombers and the reason we have to take our shoes off at airports. Whenever I've caught one of those people doing something they shouldn't be, the first thing they do is scream that I'm white and then accuse me, after addressing me by my race when I've not said a fucking word, they then accuse me of being a racist. And if we return to this picture of Yasmin, she has no sexual attraction, and let me be clear here, women should be able to dress however they want without being harassed. Yet, she's wearing fishnets, of which I approve, she's got the leather fetish gear on, she's pretty much shoving her tits into everyone's face, and she's even wearing a sub-collar. That is hardcore BDSM stuff. But she has no sexual desire. To be blunt, she's being a bit of a cocktease. It's all fake, woke, bullshit virtue signalling. Despite being a very successful model, Yasmin is trying to play the victim. And asexual people, like I said, they aren't being hounded down and beaten up like gay guys used to be in the 1980s. There's no one demanding you need to go out and shag more. So why is she doing it? Well, I had a look through her Twitter feed and it transpires she's very, very woke, in as much as she needs to play the victim so she can go on the attack, because Yasmin is a vile, self-obsessed narcissist who thinks she's better than everyone else. Now, if you're watching this and you are asexual, I wish you a long and happy life. And rest assured, no one will make an issue of you being asexual unless you choose to make an issue of it. In the same way that none of us gave a shit about the trans community until a minority of that community started screaming and trying to force it down our throats, no pun intended. And I'm feeling a bit left out because although I'm part of a minority, I'm left-handed, we don't have our own special club or flag. So I'm going to walk home now and see if I can find something to fucking cry about. As ever, thanks for watching.